Ito po ang unang impeachment proceeding sa 20th Congress. Ang respondent sa dalawang reklamong ito ay ang ating Pangulo, President Ferdinand Bongbong R. Marcos Jr.
Ito ang buong katotohanan. Si Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. ang pinakamalaking isda sa flood control corruption scandal. Ginawa niyang command center ng organized plunder ang Malacanang. Inagaw niya ang pondo para sa kalusugan ng mamamayan, para sa kickback ng ilan at direktang nag-utos ng 100 bilyong pisong insertion para tumanggap ng kickback. Malubhang pag-abuso ito sa kapangyarihan ng pagkapangulo at pagtaksil sa tiwalang ipinagkaloob sa kanya ng mga Pilipino.
I urge every member of the House Committee on Justice and of the entire House of Representatives. The substance of this complaint is more than sufficient. Makatwiran at makatarungan ang impeachment complaint na ito. Huwag nating ipagkait sa taong bayan ang karapatan sa katotohanan. Huwag nating ipagkait sa taong bayan ang karapatan sa pananagutan.
We are called to perform our sworn duty and to exercise our exclusive power as mandated by the 1987 Constitution, that is, to initiate all cases of impeachment against high-ranking officials of the Philippine government. Once again, the Committee on Justice of the House of Representatives is tasked with ensuring that the highest public officials of the land are accountable to the people in accordance with the constitutional mandate. Public office is a public trust. Ito po ang unang impeachment proceeding sa 20th Congress. Ang unang impeachment complaint, De Jesus impeachment complaint, ay inihain noong ika-19 ng Enero ng kasalukuyang taon ni Attorney Andre R. De Jesus, isang ordinaryong mamamayan. Kalakip nito ang resolution of endorsement mula kay Representative Journey Jet V. Nisay ng Pusong Pinoy Party List. Ang pangalawa namang impeachment complaint, Maza et al. Impeachment complaint, ay formal na inihain noong ika-26 ng Enero ng kasalukuyang taon ni Liza Largoza Maza, Teodoro A. Casino, Renato Reyes Jr., Attorney Nery Colmenares at 32 pang iba. Kalakip nito ang endorsement mula kina Representative Antonio L. Tino ng ACT Teachers Party List, Representative Sara I. Elago ng Gabriela Women's Party List, at ni Representative Rene Luis M. Co. ng Kabataan Party List. Both complaints were officially referred to the Committee on Justice on January 26, 2026. Ang respondent sa dalawang reklamong ito ay ang ating Pangulo, President Ferdinand Bongbong R. Marcos Jr. With the indulgence of our distinguished members, the Chair would like to open this meeting with a brief background of how the impeachment powers of Congress before we proceed with the initial deliberation of these impeachment complaints. As I mentioned earlier, the Constitution gives the highest regard to the accountability of public officers. This is readily apparent when the entire article is dedicated to the accountability of public officers. Section 1 of Article 11 states, public office is a public trust. Public officers and employees must, at all times, be accountable to the people, serve them with utmost responsibility, integrity, loyalty, and efficiency, act with patriotism and justice, and lead modest lives. These are the standards that all public officers must live by, considering that the highest public officials of the land are held to the highest standard. The Constitution provides for a special way of exacting accountability of said officials, and that is through the extraordinary action of impeachment. Impeachment refers to the power of Congress to remove a public official for serious crimes or misconduct as provided in the Constitution. It is a proceeding exercised by the legislative as representatives of the sovereign to vindicate the breach of the trust reposed by the people in the hands of the public officer by determining the public officer's fitness to stay in the office. It is a process that is sui generis, or on a class by itself, since impeachment not only involves legal, factual, and constitutional questions, but it also has a political aspect, owing largely to the fact that it is the duly elected representatives of the people, the members of the House of Representatives, as well as the Senate, who are given the sole and exclusive power to initiate and ultimately decide all cases of impeachment. Lilinawin po natin, hindi lahat ng kawani ng gobyerno ay maaaring dumaan sa prosesong ito. Ang impeachment ay isang pambihirang kapangyarihan na nakalaan lamang para sa mga pinakamatataas na pinuno na itinalaga ng ating saligang batas. Under Section 2, Article 11 of the 1987 Constitution, the power of impeachment is limited to a specific and exclusive list of high-ranking officials. These are the only officials who can be removed through this process. The impeachable officials include 1. The President, 2. The Vice President, 3. The members of the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, and the Associate Justices. 4. The members of the constitutional commissions. This include the Commission on Elections, the Commission on Audit, and the Civil Service Commission. 5. And the last is the Ombudsman. Again, the list is strictly exclusive. It also defines the grounds for which these officials may be removed from office. Specifically, 1. Culpable violation of the Constitution. 2. Treason. 3. Bribery. 4. Graft and corruption. 5. Other high crimes. And last, as number 6, betrayal of public trust. Section 3 of the same Article 11 of the Constitution outlines the procedure for impeachment from the filing of a complaint by a member of the House of Representatives or by any Filipino citizen to the actions to be taken by the House of Representatives and the Senate in initiating and trying the case for impeachment. The first paragraph of Section 3 states, "The House of Representatives shall have the exclusive power to initiate all cases of impeachment." The term initiate has been further defined in the case of Francisco versus House of Representatives, where the Supreme Court held that initiation of impeachment proceedings takes place by the act of filing and referral or endorsement of the impeachment complaint to the House Committee on Justice. The second paragraph of Section 3 states, "The manner of filing of a complaint and the process to be followed by the House and the committee in taking up such a complaint." For the information of everybody present today and the public who are watching us online, allow me to read the said paragraph in its entirety. Section 3, paragraph 2. A verified complaint for impeachment may be filed by any member of the House of Representatives or by any citizen upon a resolution of endorsement by any member thereof, which shall be included in the order of business within 10 session days and referred to the proper committee within 3 session days thereafter. The committee, after hearing and by a majority vote of all its members, shall submit its report to the House within 60 session days from such referral, together with the corresponding resolution. The resolution shall be calendared for consideration by the House within 10 session days from receipt thereof. The final paragraph of Section 3 states that the Congress shall promulgate its rules on impeachment to effectively carry out the purposes of this section. Thus, the rules of procedure on impeachment proceedings in the 19th Congress, which will govern our impeachment proceedings, was adopted for the 20th Congress on July 28, 2025, and was published on July 29, 2025 in the Philippine Star and the Manila Standard. Dahil ito ang unang pagpupulong ng komite tungkol sa impeachment complaints laban kay Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong R. Marcos Jr., pagtuunan po natin ng atensyon ang mga probisyon ng saligang batas na ito. Under our Constitution, an impeachment complaint may be filed by any citizen against any of the impeachable officers, provided that the complaint must be accompanied by a resolution of endorsement by any member of the House of Representatives. Ang De Jesus impeachment complaint na natanggap ng komite ay may kalakip na resolution of endorsement ni Representative Nisay at tatawagin natin siya maya-maya upang kanyang pagtibayin ang kanyang pag-endorso sa De Jesus impeachment complaint. Ang Masa et al. Impeachment complaint na natanggap ng komite ay may endorsement naman ni na Representative Tino, Representative Elago, and Representative Go na atin ding tatawagin maya-maya upang pagtibayin ang kanilang pag-endorso sa masa impeachment complaint. Pagkatapos nating marinig ang pagpapatibay ng mga pag-endorso ni Representative Nisay sa De Jesus impeachment complaint at sa pagpapatibay ng endorso ni na Representative Tino, Representative Elago, and Representative Ko para naman sa Masa et al. Impeachment complaint, we shall then proceed to the determination of sufficiency in form and sufficiency in substance as provided in our rules. Section 3 of the Rules of Procedure in Impeachment Proceedings states that the impeachment complaint is verified by an affidavit that the complainant has read the complaint and that the allegations therein are true and correct of his personal knowledge and based on authentic records. It further provides that an impeachment complaint required to be verified, which contains a verification based on information and belief, or upon knowledge, information, and belief, or lacks a proper verification, shall be treated as an unsigned impeachment complaint. Section 4 of the rule states that upon due referral, the committee shall determine whether the complaint is sufficient in form. If the complaint is found to be insufficient, it shall be returned to the Secretary General, who shall then return it to the complainant with a written explanation of the insufficiency. Conversely, if the complaint is found sufficient in form, the committee shall immediately proceed to determine its sufficiency in substance. Under Section 5 of the rules, the requirement of substance is met if there is a recital of facts constituting the offense charged and determinative of the jurisdiction of the committee. If the committee finds that the complaint is not sufficient in substance, it shall dismiss the complaint and shall submit its report to the plenary. If the complaint is found to be both sufficient in form and substance, we will then proceed with notices and filing of pleadings, and thereafter can we only proceed with the hearing proper to determine whether there are sufficient grounds for impeachment and ultimately whether or not there is probable cause to impeach the respondent in the complaint. Sa pagkakataon pong ito, mga kasamang miyembro ng Justice Committee, let the Chair read our ground rules which will guide us in our entire proceeding. 1. May 39 na regular members tayo sa committee. Ang quorum ay 1/5. Ibig sabihin, 8 miyembro ng committee ang kailangan to establish a quorum. 2. Ex officio members, Speaker, Deputy Speakers, Majority and Minority Leaders and Deputies. At ang chairperson ng Committee on Accounts ay kasama sa bilang may boses at may boto. 3. Kung mayroong miyembro na may gustong sabihin, makipag-ugnayan lang sa committee secretary para maisama kayo sa listahan. Salita ng pagsasalita ng miyembro ng minorya, mayorya, at may 5 minuto ang bawat gustong magsalita. 4. Sisikapin natin na unahin ang miyembro ng minorya na susundan ng miyembro ng mayorya sa kanilang pahayag. 5, kung mayroong lalabis sa 5 minuto, pagbibigyan natin sila sa second at sa mga susunod pa na rounds. As we begin this solemn process, let us be reminded that our names will be etched in the history, not by the positions we hold, but by the courage and integrity we demonstrate in this hall. We stand here today as the voice of the sovereign Filipino people. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Let us proceed with order, dignity, and fairness. May God bless us all. Before we proceed, we would like to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Chino Miguel D. Almario from the 2nd District of Davao Oriental. Thank you, Kong. The Honorable Laarni Lavin Roque from the 4th District of Bukidnon. Thank you, Congresswoman. The Honorable Maria Rene Ann Lourdes G. Matibag from the 1st District of Laguna. Thank you. The Honorable Jose Joboy S. Aquino II from the Lone District of City of Butuan. Thank you, Kong. The Honorable Ramon Rodrigo L. Gutierrez from the First Rider, One Rider Party List. Thank you for coming. The Honorable King George Leandro Antonio V. Colliantes from the 3rd District of Batangas. Thank you. The Honorable Senior Deputy Majority Leader Lawrence R. Defensor. Thank you, SDML. The Honorable Deputy Speaker Christine Singson Mihan. Thank you for coming, DS. The Honorable Deputy Speaker Yasser Alonto Balindong. Thank you, DS. The Honorable Deputy Majority Leader Honorable Munir N. Arbison Jr. Thank you for coming. The Honorable Alisa Micaela Mica M. Gonzalez, Deputy Majority Leader. The Honorable Ana Victoria Veloso Tuason, Deputy Majority Leader. The Honorable Laila M. De Lima, Deputy Minority Leader. Thank you, ma'am. The Honorable Stephen James T. Tan, Deputy Minority Leader. The Honorable Zia Alonto Adjong from the 1st District of Lanao del Sur. The Honorable Patrick Michael D. Vargas, Deputy Majority Leader. And of course, with us also as endorser is the Honorable Representative Sarah Jane I. Elago of Gabriela Party List. And of course, Representative Mauricio G. Dumogan, Vice Chair of the Committee on Justice. Maraming salamat po for all your presence in today's hearing. We now proceed to the...
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Lord Suwan is recognized.
before we proceed, for the information of the public, may we know what the effect of the latest resolution of the Supreme Court is on the proceedings which we are about to undertake?
Of course, we are very much aware of the recent resolution of the Honorable Supreme Court denying with finality the motion for reconsideration filed by the House of Representatives to the decision declaring the then articles of impeachment unconstitutional. So the question of the Honorable Suwan is with respect to the effect, consequence, implication of this resolution with respect to the present impeachment proceeding against the President. May we know the members who wish to enlighten the committee on this.
Madam Chair, if I
The Honorable Zamora is recognized. Vice Chair Bel Zamora.
The resolution dated January 29 of the Supreme Court has no bearing, has no effect on the proceedings in this committee regarding the impeachment complaints, the two impeachment complaints against the Vice President. We should recall that the resolution was made as a response to the motion for reconsideration filed by the House of Representatives in relation to the impeachment complaint filed by the House of Representatives or initiated by the House of Representatives against the Vice President last year. The impeachment complaint then was under the second mode, or the mode which requires the 1/3 vote of all members of the House of Representatives. In this case, we are in the Committee on Justice because of the complaints filed by ordinary citizens and endorsed by members of Congress, and then referred within the proper period to the House Committee on Justice. So again, Madam Chair, there is no effect on the proceedings before this committee. Let me also mention, Madam Chair, that the resolution actually dealt with the definition of the term session day in relation to the counting of the days, of the session days within which the impeachment complaint filed against the Vice President was included in the order of business in the proceedings last year, and then subsequently referred to the Committee on Justice, in which case the Supreme Court said that the 1/3 impeachment complaint filed by more than 1/3 of the members of Congress was barred. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, parliamentary inquiry.
The Honorable Garbin is recognized.
The Supreme Court held that Article 11, Section 2, Section 3, Paragraph 2 imposes mandatory and non-discretionary duties on the House of Representatives. And in the said statement made by Vice Chair Bell, the Supreme Court defined the session day as calendar days, not legislative session days. Would it affect the treatment on this committee on how do we proceed with the hearings, considering that the two impeachment complaint was filed and referred to this committee February 26, and with the January 26 and the recently enunciated case decided by the Supreme Court says that for purposes of impeachment, session day referred to Article 11, Section 3, Paragraph 2 should be interpreted as calendar days. So, Madam Chair, tanong ko po, yung 6th session day, since it was referred January 26, hanggang kailan po ba yun? Am I correct to say we have until May 26 to submit a report to the plenary?
Thank you for that question, Vice Chair Garbin. I understand that we have a lot of questions concerning the recent resolution of the Supreme Court, but we wish to confine our discussion for the purpose of our current impeachment proceedings to the question of whether or not that resolution will affect this impeachment proceeding, no? It was answered by Vice Chair Bell that the resolution pertains to the second mode of filing an impeachment, that is via 1/3 of the members of the House, whereas the present impeachment proceedings was done via the first mode, that is a complaint filed by private individual endorsed by a House member. Nevertheless, while the chair wished to defer some questions to the decision of the House of Representatives as an institution, I would like to recognize Vice Chair Kit Flores also to share his insight on the question raised by the Honorable Vice Chair Garbin.
Madam Chair, thank you. Even with the new definition of the Supreme Court on what a session day is, the current complaints that we are tackling, Madam Chair, fall within the periods given by the Supreme Court. So I guess there is nothing yet to discuss as of now.
Thank you,
Madam
Madam
Chair.
Chair. Thank
Madam-
you. Just to raise again that the constitutional procedure decided by the Supreme Court deals with the period within which the committee and the House referral and the very definition of the session day. So I get it from Vice Chair Keith Flores that the same was properly observed, and that what I'm asking before this committee, Madam Chair, is that should we follow the new definition enunciated by the Supreme Court, that when we speak of session day, we will refer it and interpret it as calendar days.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Congressman Rufus Rodriguez is recognized.
thank you, Madam Chair. I could foresee the reason why the Supreme Court did this. Because during the last Congress, the 19th Congress, there were so many, so many suspension of sessions. And so therefore, it took about more than a month to be able to refer. So it defeats the purpose, and I agree with the Supreme Court. We should never, suspend and suspend and suspend. No more adjournment of session, so that it will just be considered one session day. And it takes a month. It takes about more than 3 times 4, 12 session days. So therefore, we agree that it should be calendar days to make sure that the impeachment complaints are properly and on time, timely, be referred to the Committee on Justice. So that is clear. We experienced that, and the Supreme Court saw that there is a way to be able to defeat the purpose of our constitutional provisions. So they have changed the constitutional provision. It is clear that they have violated the Constitution, the Supreme Court, because it says calendar days. And calendar days is always the days of the calendar. It cannot be, the session days is clear as the sessions, Monday to Wednesday, and so forth. And so that is the reason why we have that. So now it is clear that we should have calendar days to be able to tackle all the impeachments. Others are coming. So therefore, we should be able to have calendar days. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
We appreciate the opinion of the Honorable Rufus Rodriguez. Nevertheless, we are requesting all the members to confine our discussions only to those questions which will be very necessary to be able to proceed in our current impeachment proceeding, no? So initially, we were asked by the Honorable Lord and Suwan, makakaapekto ba itong resolution na ito sa ating kasalukuyang impeachment proceedings sa Pangulo? Ang sagot po, hindi, sapagkat ang ating resolution po ay patungkol sa pangalawang mode ng pagsasampa ng impeachment complaint. That is by at least 1/3 of all the members of the House. Habang ito pong ating impeachment complaint laban sa Pangulo na kasalukuyan nating dinidinig ay isinampa sa pamamagitan po ng mga private individuals na inendorso naman ng ating mga House members. With that,
Madam Chair,
the Honorable Tino is recognized.
thank you. Madam Chair, gusto ko pala lang pong iparating sa committee na kahit po hindi ito yung second mode na endorsed ng 1/3, kung hindi ni-refer po sa Justice Committee, kaya nandito po tayo ngayon, pero hindi po ba may epekto pa rin sa timetable? Kasi sabi dito, determination of sufficiency in form the Secretary General within 3 session days will return with a written explanation of insufficiency. So may mga sinasabi po, kailangan po na halimbawa, makapaglabas ng committee report ang Committee on Justice within 60 session days. So dahil po ang Supreme Court decision ay nagbigay ng bagong kahulugan sa session day bilang calendar day, may epekto po sa timetable. Hindi po ba?
The Chair agrees with the Honorable Tino, and with that, we will be deferring all these questions to the proper committee through the leadership of the House of Representatives. I wish to express that the Justice Committee is not in the proper position to pronounce whether or not we will be following every details of the resolution of the Honorable Supreme Court. We recognize, however, the presence of our Senior Deputy Majority Leader in the person of Congressman Noy Defensor. With that, we will proceed to our impeachment proceedings. The impeachment complaint, the first impeachment complaint, filed by Attorney Andre R. De Jesus, was endorsed by the Honorable Representative from Pusong Pinoy Party List, Representative Journey Jet V. Nisay. And we are recognizing Representative Nisay for his endorsement of the impeachment complaint of Attorney De Jesus.
Good morning, Madam Chair, honorable members of the committee, and all the esteemed guests. Article 2 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution states that sovereignty resides in the people and all government authority emanates from them. Bilang kinatawan ng mamayang Pilipino at bilang House Deputy Minority Leader, humaharap tayo ngayon para sa konstitusyonal na proseso sa pananagutan ng mataas na opisyal ng bansa, na ngayon ay may alegasyon ng graft and corruption, culpable violation of the Constitution, at betrayal of public trust. Bago po ang lahat, nais kong bigyan diin na sa magiging impeachment proceedings na ito ay maging pundasyon nawa ang tama at patas na proseso. Ito rin ang pangunahin kong intensyon kung kaya't aking inendorso ang complaint na ito, ang madala sa nararapat na forum at dumaan sa wastong proseso. Tayo ay sumusunod at susunod sa bawat tamang prosesong idineklara ng batas. Unang-una, tiwala ako na ang impeachment complaint na aking inendorso ay sufficient in form. Batay sa ating rules, kaugnay sa pag-evaluate ng impeachment complaint, ang isang impeachment complaint para maging sufficient in form must be verified by an affidavit that the complainant has read the complaint and that the allegations therein are true and correct of his personal knowledge or based on authentic records. This can also be checked sa page 13 ng nasabing complaint or sa verification page. Clearly, ang complaint na ito ay verified by an affidavit executed by Attorney Andre De Jesus, stating that he caused its preparation, that he has read and understood its contents, and that the allegations therein are true and correct based on his personal knowledge or on authentic documents. In the same affidavit attached to the complaint, Attorney De Jesus further swears that all factual allegations are supported by evidence and that this complaint is not filed to harass, delay, or otherwise increase the cost of litigation. Accordingly, para mag-comply sa formal requirements, ini-endorso ko ang impeachment complaint through a resolution of endorsement, duly signed and sworn to before the Honorable House Secretary General. Therefore, Madam Chair, in view of the foregoing, it is respectfully submitted that the impeachment complaint is sufficient in form and that it be allowed to proceed to the next stage of the proceedings. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Nisay. Now we proceed to the endorsement of the impeachment complaint filed by Lisa Maza, Teodoro Casino, Renato Reyes Jr., Attorney Nery Colmenares, and 32 other complainants. For this purpose, the Chair recognizes the Honorable Representative from ACT Teachers Party List, Representative Antonio L. Tino, and/or the Honorable Representative from Gabriela Women's Party List, Representative Sara I. Elago, and/or from Kabataan Party List, Honorable Representative Rene Luis M. Co. You are recognized.
Maraming salamat, Madam Chair. Pagtataksil sa tiwalang ipinagkaloob ng mamamayan, betrayal of public trust, yan ang ginawa ni Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. at ito ang dahilan kung bakit dapat siyang ma-impeach. Nakapaloob sa impeachment complaint na aming inendorso ang buong katotohanan na magtatahi at magbibigay linaw kung bakit sa ilalim ni Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. nangyari ang pinakamalaganap, sistematiko at sentralisadong paglimas ng pondo sa kaban ng bayan sa kasaysayan ng Republika mula nang mapatalsik ang diktador na si Ferdinand Marcos Sr. noong 1986 na naitala sa Guinness Book of World Records dahil sa ill-gotten wealth, following in the footsteps, like father, like son. Sa unang 3 taon ng Administrasyong Marcos Jr., daan-daang bilyon ang pondong sangkot sa flood control corruption scandal. Nangyari ito hindi dahil sa kanya-kanyang diskarte ng ilang mga tiwaling opisyal ng DPWH, mga ganid na kontraktor at ilang korap na senador at kongresista o ng mga nasa ibaba, paligid at katabi ng Pangulo habang siya'y walang kamuwang-muwang at namulat na lamang sa katotohanan nitong SONA 2025 na may corruption pala sa gobyerno niya. Nangyari ito dahil pinahintulutan ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. na maging opisyal na patakaran ang pagpaparte ng DPWH budget sa mga opisyal ng Malacanang, Senado at Kongreso, yung tinatawag na allocables at non-allocables, para pagkakitaan ng mga kickback na tinatawag na ngayong commitment o advance. Ang pondong publiko napunta sa pansariling pakinabang. Yan ang unang pagtataksil ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa tiwala ng bayan. Hindi pa nabusog sa pondo ng DPWH, kaya nangyari sa ilalim ni Pangulong Marcos ang walang kapantay sa kasaysayan na paglobo ng unprogrammed appropriations. Ayon sa batas, tanging ang Pangulo ang may kapangyarihang mag-approve sa paggamit at pag-release ng pondo mula sa unprogrammed appropriations. Ginamit niya ang kanyang discretion para aprubahan ang 213 billion na dagdag na proyekto ng DPWH kasama ang 111 billion para sa flood control na pawang napunta sa korupsyon. Mas masahol pa, pinahintulutan niya at hindi pinigilan ang pagkuha ng 90 billion na pondo ng PhilHealth para gamitin sa infrastructure, bagay na tahasang labag sa sin tax law at dineklarang iligal mismo ng Korte Suprema. Pondo para sa kalusugan, dinala sa kurakot. Yan ang ikalawang pagtataksil ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa tiwala ng bayan. Ngunit, hindi lang command responsibility o sin of omission ang kasalanan ng Pangulo. Direktang nag-utos siya ng hindi bababa sa 100 billion na insertion sa 2025 budget at tumanggap ng hindi bababa sa 8 billion na kickback. Saan ginamit ang pera? May bahaging napunta sa personal, ngunit ang kalakhan ginamit para sa eleksyon. Ito ang sekreto sa likod ng pagbaha ng pera sa panahon ng eleksyon. Pera ng taong bayan, ginawang kickback mula sa kontraktor, pinambili ng boto para manalo at umulit ang siklo. Ganyan mismo ang ginawa ng Pangulo. Ito ang pinakadirekta at masahol na pagtataksil ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa tiwala ng bayan. Sa mga tagapagtanggol na nagsasabing siya nga ang unang naglantad ng flood control scam, paano mong sasabihin sangkot at pasimuno siya? Sabi ng mga nagrarally, Marcos, Duterte, walang pinag-iba. May batayan yan. Si Duterte may tokhang na kumitil sa libong buhay at may peking gera kontra droga na tumarget sa ilang drug lord. Yung pala, pangunahing protektor si Duterte ng sarili niyang mga drug lord habang pumusturang numero 1 kalaban ng droga. Si Pangulong Marcos naman, tinukhang ang bilyones na pondo ng taong bayan at naglunsad ng peking gera kontra korupsyon, kung saan siya ang bida, habang dinidiinan ang ilang korap, ngunit pinoprotektahan ang sarili at ang pinakamalapit niyang mga nandambong. Sufficient in form and substance ang complaint na aming inendorso. Wala tayong nakikitang dahilan para ibasura ng komiting ito sa napakaagang yugto at hindi pa abutin sa hearing. Nariyan lang sa tabi, nakatago sa publiko ang dalawang opisyal na merong mga resibo at ledger na magpapatunay sa direktang papel ng Pangulo, pagtanggap niya ng kickback at kung paano ginamit at saan napunta ang pondo. Maaari silang pasalitain sa pagtuloy-tuloy ng impeachment proceeding na ito. Tinutukoy ko sina former Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin at Undersecretary Adrian Bersamin. Ito ang buong katotohanan. Si Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. ang pinakamalaking isda sa flood control corruption scandal. Ginawa niyang command center ng organized plunder ang Malacanang. Inagaw niya ang pondo para sa kalusugan ng mamamayan, para sa kickback ng ilan at direktang nag-utos ng 100 bilyong pisong insertion para tumanggap ng kickback. Malubhang pag-abuso ito sa kapangyarihan ng pagkapangulo at pagtaksil sa tiwalang ipinagkaloob sa kanya ng mga Pilipino. Dapat siyang ma-impeach. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Sara Ilago.
Sa ngalan ng Gabriela Women's Party, inendorso namin ang reklamong impeachment laban kay Pangulong Marcos, nina Maza et al. Bilang bahagi ng tuloy-tuloy na paglaban sa korupsyon at mahalagang hakbang tungo sa pananagutan. Ang laban para managot ang lahat ng kurakot ay laban para sa kapakanan at kinabukasan ng mga pamilyang Pilipino. Kapag may korap, napakabigat ng tama sa mga kababaihan, lalong-lalo na ang mga mahihirap. Sa mga nanay na naghahanap buhay sa gitna ng tumataas na presyo ng bilihin, sa mga babaeng manggagawang pinipiga ng kontraktualisasyon at barat na sahod, at sa mga biktima ng karahasan na pinabayaan ng isang sistemang walang hustisya. We are endorsing this verified impeachment complaint, which presents acts of betrayal of public trust, demonstrating command responsibility and personal culpability of the President himself. The adoption and implementation of the baseline balance managed parametric formula which institutionalized systemic corruption sa sadyang paggawa at pagdisenyo ng sistema kung saan ang priorities of leaders ang mas sinusunod kaysa sa technical requirements at pangangailangan ng ating mga communities. Ang flood control program na dapat sana ay para sa pag-iwas sa sakuna at kaligtasan ng publiko ay ginawa ng makinarya para sa malawakang pagnanakaw. We have also seen how public funds meant for urgent national needs are turned into the administration's presidential pork barrel. Sa pag-authorize ng Pangulo sa release ng 213 billion pesos ng unprogrammed appropriations, kung saan ang 111 billion pesos para sa flood control projects na pinili batay sa priorities ng leaders lang, ang pondo para dapat sa pagtugon sa pagbabaha at kalamidad ay ginawang pondo para sa sistematikong katiwalian. Hindi ito basta lamang paggamit ng kapangyarihan, ito ay pagtataksil sa tiwala ng taong bayan. Dagdag pa, ang pagbibitiw ng kanyang mga pinakamatataas na opisyal matapos ang mga seryosong aligasyon ng mga kickback ay nagpapatunay na ang bakas ng katiwalian ay hanggang sa Malacanang. Wala man lang ipinatawag at humarap sa mga investigasyon sa kanila. May resignations pero wala man lang thorough investigation. Walang kahit anong investigasyon tungkol sa kinalaman mismo ng palasyo at ng Pangulo mismo bilang nasa tuktok ng kapangyarihan. Hindi ito pwedeng palusutin. Para po sa akin, bilang isa sa mga endorsers, The most painful proof of this betrayal of public trust is felt not just in these documents of the verified impeachment complaint, but in the lives of our people. Habang bilyong-bilyong piso ang kinakamkam ng mga kurakot sa ilalim ng pamumuno ng Pangulo, pasan-pasan ng mga ordinaryong Pilipino ang matataas at mabibigat na buwis. Ang value-added tax o VAT sa pagkain at mga pangunahing bilihin, excise tax sa langis, ang patuloy na pagtaas ng mga bayarin sa kuryente at iba pang utilities, ang lahat ng ito ay pumapasok sa kaban ng bayan. Isang kaban na direktang ninanakaw sa pamamagitan ng mga mekanismo na kanyang ginamit at naipatupad. Ang perang pinagpawisan ng mga manggagawa, ng mga driver, ng mga magsasaka, ng ordinaryong mamamayan ay napupunta sa mga bulsa ng mga kurakot. Therefore, I urge every member of the House Committee on Justice and of the entire House of Representatives, the substance of this complaint is more than sufficient. Makatwiran at makatarungan ang impeachment complaint na ito. Huwag nating ipagkait sa taong bayan ang karapatan sa katotohanan. Huwag nating ipagkait sa taong bayan ang karapatan sa pananagutan. Maraming salamat.
Before we proceed, may we acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Crispin Diego M. D. Remulla, Deputy Majority Leader, and the Honorable Bienvenido M. Abante from the 6th District of Manila. Thank you for coming. Now, Honorable Reneco.
Madam Chair, mga kapwa ko mambabatas at sa mamamayang Pilipino. Nasa harap ninyo ako ngayon bilang kinatawan ng kabataan at isa sa 3 miyembro ng Kamara na nag-endorso ng verified complaint mula sa taong bayan, 36 na individual mula sa iba't ibang sektor para sa impeachment ni Pangulong Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. dahil sa kanyang pagtataksil sa tiwala ng publiko sa kanya o betrayal of public trust na alinsunod sa konstitusyon ay isang marapat na batayan para matanggal siya sa kanyang pwesto. The Constitution says, public office is a public trust. Iniutos ng saligang batas sa mga pampublikong opisyales na lagi silang magkaroon ng pananagutan sa taong bayan, mamuhay ng simple, at maglingkod sa mamamayan ng may pinakamataas na katapatan, responsibilidad, at integridad. Madam Chair, sa nagdaang mga buwan at taon, it has become clear to us that President Marcos Jr. has not heeded this constitutional command. It is for this reason that the people are charging him with betrayal of public trust. Ayon sa Korte Suprema, sa Gonzales III versus Office of the President, ito ay maituturing na gross faithlessness against public trust, tyrannical abuse of power, inexcusable negligence of duty, favoritism, gross exercise of discretionary powers, at iba pa, na nakakayurak sa interes ng publiko at nakakasira sa reputasyon ng opisina. May nakikita tayong 3 kagagawan na pasok sa definisyong ito. Una, pinagtaksilan niya ang tiwala ng publiko sa pag-institutionalize ng isang sistematikong iskema ng korupsyon sa pamamagitan ng pagbuo at pagpapatupad ng pinangalangang BBM Parametric Formula bilang opisyal na mekanismo ng alokasyon ng pondo para sa flood control projects at iba pang infrastructure projects ayon sa dikta ng mga opisyal ng administrasyon at leadership of the legislature, thereby converting the national infrastructure budget into a centralized apparatus for plunder. Ikalawa, sa ilalim ng termino ni Pangulong Marcos Jr., pinalobo niya ang unprogrammed appropriations sa mga halagang hindi pa kailanman nakita ng kasaysayan natin. Sa ilalim nitong iskema ng budget na kailangan ng direct approval ng Pangulo, kumuha ang Malacanang ng pera galing sa PhilHealth, PDIC, upang pondohan ng flood control projects na napatunayan ng bukal ng pangungurakot. Nagpapakita ito ng gross exercise of discretionary powers for purposes contrary to the duties of the office. Sumumpa ang Pangulo na itaguyod ang konstitusyon, pero sa pag-abuso sa unprogrammed appropriations ay sangkot siya sa paglabag nito, sa paglusot sa konstitusyonal na kapangyarihan ng Kongreso na itakda ang pambansang budget. Ikatlo, May mga testimonya na personal at direktang iniutos ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. ang pagpasok ng hindi bababa sa 100 bilyong pisong halaga ng mga maanumalyang flood control projects at iba pang proyekto ng infrastruktura sa 2025 General Appropriations Act. Si Yusek Bernardo mismo ang ginawang state witness ngayon sa mga kaso kontra korupsyon ang nagkumpirma na may nakuha nga ang Malacanang, bagay na kinikilala sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearings. Marami ang nanalig sa mga ulat at pangako sa SONA pa lamang ng Pangulo. Noong SONA 2024, may pinagmalaki na may natalang 5,500 na natayong flood control projects. Pero sa sunod na taon, lalabas na sa buong panahon pala ay wala raw kaalam-alam ang Pangulo sa pangungurakot dito. Kundi man ito pagpapanggap at panloloko sa publiko dahil sangkot siya, lantaran naman itong kapabayaan. Sumumpa ang Pangulo to, quote, do justice to every man, to consecrate himself to the service of the nation. At sa dulo, hindi naman po ito nakita. In the past year, we, the youth, heard time and time again of the expectation from us to take charge of our future. Para tuparin ang aming papel bilang pag-asa ng bayan, ito ang ginagawa namin ngayon. We will hold public officials to account for their misspending, for the pesos that should have went to public and social services but went to personal interest. Wala na dapat makalusot. Ito ang panahon ng pananagutan. Sa inendorso naming verified impeachment complaint laban kay Pangulong Marcos Jr., sinasaad natin ang facts constituting betrayal of public trust. Wala pong rason kung bakit hindi dapat ito tumuloy-tuloy sa hearing proper. Bilang mga mambabatas, Madam Chair, hindi dapat tayo matakot na ungkatin ang katotohanan. Ang hiling ng kinatawang ito, let the Filipino people who suffered from disasters and lacking basic social services because of misuse and abuse of public funds see their day in court. Let the Filipino people repose their trust in a public office that deserves it and does not betray it. We, the Filipino youth, demand better leaders, and we deserve better leaders. Thank you, Madam Chair.